Hi guys, I'm Erin, and I'm filming on my phone today because when I sat down to film, this is what happened to my camera. I don't know if you could see it really well, but see that? The screen is purple. So if the video looks flat, it's because of that. I don't have like a fancy new iPhone. But today's video is brought to you by me as a source of like motivation, listening to a lot of long form interviews of writers that I really liked, and them being perplexed by the question of, is this character you? Which at its core isn't like a ridiculous question, like it doesn't come out of nowhere. What gets me is the tone. It's the way that it is asked. As if the interviewer is like, listen, I know that this character is you and you can lie all you want to, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. As if you having similar experiences to this character, or like full-blown robots in disguise, you are that character. That doesn't mean that there was no work put into it, like you just lived your life and then magically these beautiful prose appeared on the page. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's still a craft. It still takes work. So I wanted to talk about self-insert characters versus characters based on you / biomythologies. And I know that that is a mouthful of a title, but we're gonna get through it and we're gonna rip it apart because I see this question asked a lot. Is this character based on you? Mostly to female writers or male writers who have a female protagonist. And I don't think that it's a coincidence because no one asked James Patterson or Quentin Tarantino, is this you? They ask Nicola Yoon or like Diablo Cody or Greta Gerwig or whoever. So let's chat. Self-insert characters used to mean characters that were covertly or overtly these idealized versions of the author. But since this style in like the early 2000s YA books, and like a quick pop of it in like 2012, 2013, and since like the normalization and boom of fan fiction, it could literally be the reader inserting themselves into the story. And you can see it in fanfics as like the Y/N thing, which I could never really get into because I need a concrete character. I need a bitch I can root for. I'm not rooting for me. No ma'am. And the way that authors usually create this effect is by creating a character that is so atrocious, so ubiquitous, that you can literally project yourself onto them because they are just that bland. The charm of this character is supposed to be she's normal and she's just like you because she is you. And a lot of people call them Mary Sues. I can't think of the male version right now. My light is flickering. I can't think of the male version of that right now, so let's just stick with the female version for now. Usually she has dark hair and dark eyes and doesn't think that she's special because she has dark hair and dark eyes. But in the end, she learns that what makes her normal is what makes her extraordinary. Therefore, you are extraordinary, and you are, but for me ends up being a nothing character. But I think that's why we got this big boom of the ever so controversial manic pixie dream girl, because we were so tired of these boring girls with no personality in books and movies who were just super passive and just kind of let the plot happen to them for the sake of being relatable. But that's a whole other video. That's a whole other topic. Would love to make that video. But there's nothing wrong with writing self-insert characters at the end of the day. We've all done it. It's a process. I've done it too. So let's get on to the fun stuff. Of course, since you're the one writing the piece, there's gonna be a bit of you in every character because it goes through your filter, and there's nothing wrong with writing characters based on you. It can be incredibly healing, especially if you have all of your problems laid out in front of you and you're doing these like psychological deep dives into your characters to figure out why they're the way that they are. And of course, you know, when you speak your problems out loud, the solution becomes obvious and you're staring at your character and you're like, well, why don't they just do blank already? And then you kind of take a step back and you're like, wait, why don't I just do blank already? In my ebook, Truth Weekend, and even more in the screenplay adaptation, Sky and Rosie are not these perfect, idealized versions of myself. They are assholes, and they are like unabashed assholes. If anything, they're like two sides of like my alter egos, if you want to call it that. Like, it's like one part made up, one part traits that really fascinate me and traits that I really want to break down, like the popular girl that hates herself. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. So instead of giving them like my best traits or like my positive memories or talents or things that I like about myself times 1,000, I have given them the things that haunt me. I give them the questions that I've been struggling with and like some of the more like taboo topics that I want to talk about and I want to explore. With Sky, I've never been the smart-mouthed bad girl. I mean, I like to go out and have a good time, but I've never had an issue with alcohol, and I've never had this like societal label of being like, or having like the dirty party girl persona. I've always been more of a rule follower, and I've never been one to say some like the wild, uncalled for, below the belt shit that she does, cause like I never want to hurt anyone's feelings. But like, while we differ there, through her I got to sift through these feelings that my life at 21 at the time is not what I imagined 21 to be, you know? And I would look online and I would see all these 21-year-olds or, you know, people in their early 20s accomplishing so much and, you know, seemingly so happy, so perfect, and just grappling with how inadequate and how incompetent that made me feel and how like stuck and lonely I was. And I remember just like sitting there and thinking, you know, if I work hard enough, then I'll be happy, then I'll be fulfilled, and you know, then life will happen. If I get to this stage, this age, this status, then I will be happy, and then life will start. When really, life is always happening. Life is happening right now, and there is no fucking party at the end, so just have fun now. And it's the same with Rosie. I've never had this perfectionist quality that she possesses. I've never been the popular girl, but because of that, I was fascinated in breaking down that type of person and fascinated in exploring the idea that sometimes the things that people admire you for and the things that make you great can also be the things that are tearing you up inside and are the things that are holding you back. And I decided to throw my violent sense of productivity on her, and this idea of equating your worth to how much you produce and how productive you are, and as an artist, tying your entire identity to the quality of work that you make and leaving it with the question of, well, if you haven't made anything for a while, or the work that you have made disappoints you, or your work falls just short of this grand thing that you see in your head, then who are you? And if you fail, then are you really talented at all? We're getting too deep. So that's how I sift through the characters that are kind of like you thing, because I think that adding your own like little bits of truth adds authenticity, and weirdly there's like representation in specificity. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to relate to slaying a dragon, even though it is thrilling, but I can relate to being put in front of this huge task and feeling this like profound sense of incompetence, and that's why I keep reading. All right, guys, that's all that I have for you today. I hope that you liked my video. Last week I made a sketch, so if you haven't already seen it, please do so. Those make me so happy to make. Also, if you want to check out Truth Weekend, it takes place around Christmas and it's kind of snarky, kind of sad, full of gay panic, so if you like that kind of thing, check it out. I really want the screenplay for it to be picked up, so if you have a friend who works at A24, let them know, and I will see all of you lovely people in my next video. Bye!